Guys, for those of you that are new, welcome. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. For those of you that support me over on Patreon, thank you so very much. This is the monthly Tarotscope for the sign of Aquarius. So if you have a sun, moon, or rising in the sign of Aquarius, or heavily placed planets, which would be like 3 or more planets in that sign, you may want to watch this to see what kind of August you may have. This is a broad spectrum to reach a lot of different people, so know that you can take what you need and leave the rest. If things don't match up or don't sound like they make sense to your life, that's okay. It doesn't mean anything's wrong. You're not doing anything wrong. You might just be working on something different. Check out the drop-down menus on the daily forecast for any information that you may need as far as booking private readings and things like that. This first card is coming from the I Am Everything deck, which I thought would be a cool sort of signifier card for the month. I kind of associated it. It was calling my name off the bookshelf. Sort of seemed to be kind of cool for midpoint Leo season and the turning into the warmth and summery. We're in summer, but kind of keeping with that upward vibe of summer through the month of August. I thought this would be a great signifier deck to work with. So this is kind of like my Aquarius mantra, or where you guys are at, what you guys should be focusing on this month. Maybe your, thoughts where you should focus your thoughts, basically. So this is card number 16, which is a 7. It's I am worthy. I am enough, and I am worthy of receiving everything I desire. I do not need to prove myself to those who would seek to diminish me. I am worthy. I love that. Number 7s always indicate to me making a conscious choice. Towards something, towards choosing this worthiness, towards maybe changing our opinions of ourselves, Aquarius, maybe not being so critical if we have been in the recent past, letting some of that go, knowing that, if we want to be happy, we can be. If we've been unhappy leading up to this month, or, maybe in the months previous, it's maybe time to step away from that and really be conscious and aware of that, and not allow that to permeate what we do anymore, right? We should sort of step into the sun, enjoy, who we are and what we deserve, and go about making it kind of happen, making it come together for ourselves this month through, not necessarily proving our worthiness, just believing in it, just sort of owning it, right? I like that. So that is your mantra or your guide for this month. Keep a focus towards that as we work through this month. I think there's a cat fight going on because the dogs just went running out to the backyard. So let's see what the cards have to say. So your center card is kind of where you're centered at. It tells me a bit about what you're working on, what you could also potentially be creating for the future. So we have the Queen of Cups. I'm not mad at her at all. She is definitely water upon water. Emotionally, though, she can be feeling very connected to her emotional self today, right? So when I think about the month of August for my Aquarius, with the Queen of Cups in the center, we can be a bit emotional, but I kind of feel like she's the most skilled or adept at owning her emotions, being in charge of them, being in control of them, not sort of feeling ashamed for them. If we find ourselves a little bit more emotional this month, just own it. Just allow it to be, embrace it, nurture it. That would be the queen energy, right? She's going to sort of mother it or care for it rather than, shun it or feel bad for it. Does that make sense? So we don't want to have any judgments upon it. If we are feeling emotional or maybe a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe we're listening a little bit more to our emotional voice or our intuitional voice and allow that to be our guide. We might be feeling a little bit sensitive this month. That's okay. Let it just be what it is. Nurture yourself, knowing that you're worthy to or allowed to have these feelings that might be going on within you, right? She's not, to me, sometimes she can indicate over emotionality, but I don't feel like that's the case. I feel like this is us finally allowing ourselves to maybe feel the way we actually have been feeling. If we've been denying ourselves up until a certain point, now is the time to sort of stop that and allow those emotions to kind of flow and be free and accepted. right? The next card is the Foundation card. This tells me a bit about what was going on in the past, what everything's built upon. It's this card that sort of drives everything into the future potentially, or it holds everything in place. So the memory of this card. So this is the Two of Wands. This is your complementary energy of fire, wands being that of the element of spirit and desire. The Two of Wands is about planning stages, right? So when I look at this, it sort of looks to me like, okay, where in our past have we been thinking about what it is that we want? Have we been recently focused on where we want to be rather than where we have been, right? The Queen of Cups in the center there indicates that, our feelings might be our guide very much this month as to how to go about getting there. With the Two of Wands in the Foundation, now is the time to be really looking at that, focusing on that, giving our attention to where we want to be, or we maybe already have done that, but allowing that desire to guide us as we work with our emotions in our center to move us towards what feels right rather than maybe what we think is right or what's expected of us. Does that make sense? And so I like that the Two of Wands is down there because it is that sort of complementary energy of fire that would complement Aquarius energy, but also it's kind of like that idea of there's a little bit of optimism, I feel like, with the Two of Wands. There's also a little bit of possibility there, right? And so when we look at the expressiveness or the emotionality of the Queen of Cups, it feels like we could potentially open ourselves up to a lot of different ideas, a lot of different opportunities in the month of August, as long as they feel right and they feel like they coincide with us. Does that make sense? So the card that's above you is the Soul card or the Spirit card. This tells me where your soul or spirit is at. This is the Nine of Wands. Now, this was the center for my Libras. So it's interesting that this shows up twice, right? My Libras had this as their sort of focus or where they're centered at this month. The Nine of Wands to me indicates kind of coming to terms with maybe a situation, an experience, something we've been dealing with, and kind of really reaching an end point with it. Having learned through hardship, through maybe struggle, through hard lessons, and being smarter because of it, right? Having been really educated probably to the depths of who we really are. So if we have dealt with some stuff in the past that has not necessarily always seen us, validated us, or treated us very well, and maybe we've entertained it, we're no longer entertaining it, is certainly with this I am worthy card here and the Queen of Cups in the center, the Two of Wands as the foundation. It's like we're moving away from that, or really assimilating the knowledge of past struggles, situations that didn't serve us, whatever. We've grown away from them is really the feeling that I get. We're really moving to the next, much more so, I think, than what I was seeing in my in the previous reading of Libra. I feel like Libra is doing the same, sort of a similar trajectory in a way, but they're a little bit closer to the what's the word, like closer to the scenarios that maybe cause them trouble, or we're creating this Nine of Wands. Does that make sense? To me, this Nine of Wands being in your spirit space is sort of like, and I also love that the wands are above you and below you. Also, again, we're talking about Wands energy being complementary, so it's going to further grow my Aquariuses, right? But it's also it's connected to spirit too, that Wands energy. And so when we have a Wands card in the spirit space, it's very much like that spirit communication. So to me, it feels like spirit's reminding us, like, look, we've done the lesson, we've lived the experience, we bought the t-shirt, so to speak, we've learned what we've learned, we've assimilated the knowledge. Now let's sort of close the chapter or make our decisions having been through the experience, and be smart about it, right? The key here is that with the Queen of Cups in the center and the Two of Wands as the foundation, we can really trust how we're feeling and allow those feelings to sort of be our guide, right? And allow our desires from that Two of Wands to sort of also be the impetus for where we make our decisions and how we move forward. And we can trust ourselves. That Nine of Wands really indicates to me this idea that hopefully Aquarius understands that they can trust themselves and they can move forward in in a way that feels right or feels accurate to them or inspiring to them, certainly with that Two of Wands down in the foundation. So good on you, Aquarius. The next two cards are what I call the outside influences. These can be people, sometimes events or belief systems, sometimes energies that are having an effect on us, either positively or negatively in the month of August. So let's see what they are. One is the Wheel of Fortune. Beautiful card. The Wheel of Fortune wants to sort of turn in our favor at all times, but sometimes it can be bigger than us in a sense, or it can move slower than we expect or than we want. There could be some shifts and changes with the wheel that can sometimes maybe feel, I wouldn't say unexpected, but we might be wanting them to show up to us in a different way, right? Like sometimes I think the Wheel of Fortune can show up. It always shows up in our favor, but sometimes it can show up in a way that doesn't necessarily make sense to us. Or maybe we're not really sure that, we're like, is this it? Is this really, it's not moving fast enough, or we don't quite always connect to it. And I think that the Queen of Cups in the center here wants to remind us to trust our feelings, to connect with this wheel and allow it to, like, the faith of our own emotions to carry us through the month of August. The Wheel of Fortune should be new opportunities, should be things kind of falling together in a way, even maybe synchronistically or in ways that we didn't necessarily think or were aware that they could. Does that make sense? There's a little bit of magic to the Wheel of Fortune too. So I would say look for big opportunities from this to come to you in the month of August. Be willing to take them. They should feel right. Right. And I think that with that Two of Wands and that Queen of Cups in the center, and the knowledge of the past in the Nine of Wands in the center too, we're going to know when they show up, right? When the door sort of opens, we're going to walk through it. Ideally, we're going to know when it feels right. So don't miss those opportunities. Pay attention to them because they do want to move us forward. And then the other card, excuse me as I yawn, my God. The other card is the Ten of Cups. Beautiful, beautiful card to have as an outside influence. The Ten of Cups is about emotional well-being, right? It's about love. It's about things kind of feeling connected, good, in line, abundant, all of that sort of energy, right? Now, when I look at this on the outside influence, and we have that Queen of Cups ready to receive this Ten of Cups, right? Emotionally, it should feel like, to me, these are two really, really beautiful outside influence cards for my Aquarius this month. I almost feel like, and this is what I mean, like when I go look at this, I am worthy here. We've got the Wheel of Fortune wanting to give us like the big life stuff, right? It's almost like the universe lining up for us. And the Ten of Cups wants us to feel good and move towards the thing that feels good. Well, who would be able to feel that better than the Queen of Cups in the center Aquarius? Right? We've done the hard stuff, like I said, with that Nine of Wands up above. We've learned our lessons. We've educated ourselves through the struggles and the strain. And now we're ready to sort of move forward in a way that's not only positive in the month of August, but also should be exciting, right? Because that Two of Wands still has that vibe, even though it's in the past. Everything's built upon that idea of like new horizons. Where do we want to go? How do we want it to be? And it's interesting too, because when I look at this Two of Wands, we have the two swords. We have the sword here. This is a Wands card, right? But it's interesting that what draws my attention is this Cups card, which we have these Cups energies here. So it's just interesting that we that cup flag, for some reason, the blue on it is pulling my attention. So again, it's like, where in the past did our desire, excuse me, I'm so yawny, did our desire like ignite this flame within us, right? Or emotions ignite this flame within us to want to start to begin to think about, like, I don't know, a better future. And that drive, that desire, that, contemplation that happened, however brief, is still kind of pushing us forward. To me, though, I would say the month of August, we should find that situations are going to open up to us in a way that could be rather profound, that will definitely feel very good, that should bring us sort of, certainly abundance, happiness, and make us feel like we are maybe like back on the path. If we felt like we've been off the path or not quite right leading up to this point, it looks to me like things should line up for my Aquariuses. And this is, I love this because I have an Aquarius moon. So I'm like, this is a good, as far as if this is where my moon's at, I'll take it. But what I am going to say with this, I am worthy, you know, we need to remember too, you are worthy, Aquarius, to take these opportunities. You deserve them. You know, if they feel right and they bring you like joy or inspiration, go after them, like do it. Don't hold back. Let it like sort of flow to you. You deserve it, is the feeling that I'm getting. Now, the next card is the potential outcomes card. This card tells me sort of where things are going to end out for my Aquariuses, barring that nothing major changes. It is not set in stone. So if you don't like this card, or if it doesn't sound like a good ending for the month, we can certainly make choices through free will to make changes and affect this outcome, use it as a warning, so to speak. But if we do like the card and we like the outcome, we can take heart in the fact that we're kind of naturally like gravitating towards it and moving towards it in just a very natural way. So we don't have to do much to make this card come to pass. All right, so this is the Eight of Wands. Now, I love this because that Two of Wands down in the bottom there, that's from the past, but it's also sort of like lingering in the background, kind of driving us towards it. The end of April, what the hell am I talking about? It's because of the 8 here. I said 8. I'm thinking 8 and then thinking April. The end of August is really about, boom, like heading off into September and maybe the rest of the year, gangbusters. Eight of Wands is a very fast moving energy, but I feel like it's actually us beginning to take that like physical action or movement towards whatever it is that's being not only offered to us through the Wheel of Fortune and the Ten of Cups, but also sort of that desire that we were contemplating back when we were in this Two of Wands energy. Does that make sense? It's the wisdom of the struggle that the Nine of Wands had presented to us maybe back whenever, right? We've assimilated that at a deep spiritual level. We understand that we're wiser because of it. So now we're like, it almost feels like to me when I look at these cards, like Aquarius doesn't want to waste any more time by the end of August. We're ready to move towards that very thing that we are sort of almost divinely guided to. And the reason why I say that is because the Eight of Wands, obviously, again, we're at Wands energy, which is complementary to Aquarius's air element, but it's also spiritual in nature, is the Wands energy. And we see that giant moon there, which I love because moons always trigger me to this place of intuition, being guided, that sort of voice within, right? And so to me, I feel like Aquarius will be certainly ready to make actionable moves that are spiritually driven, that are, and to me too, the Eight of Wands also has this sort of, you know, it's not only a fast card, but it's also a very dynamic card in the sense that I feel like it's very focused. You know, whenever I see an Eight of Wands, to me, the wands are like precisely flying towards their goal. Now, I'm not going to say that it's going to be a perfect trip for all Aquariuses, right? But the what's the word I'm looking for? Like the focus is there, the drive is there, the desire is there in the Eight of Wands. The Eight of Wands can indicate too, like in certain love readings, it can very much be like, you know, a direct shot towards your loved one. To me, it sometimes can represent like almost like a Cupid's arrow in a way, right? And so when I think of that also in this reading, it's like, what do we want? What do we love? What feels right, Aquarius? Because now is the time. Well, now is the time to get into those feels, right? That's that Queen of Cups in the center, and allow that desire, which is the Two of Wands, and that contemplation of that desire to drive us in our feels towards what feels right, and then start to begin to look at the options and the opportunities that open up to us this month, because by month's end, we're ready to really move towards those things. And they're going to be the things that we love, right? That's that love, sort of declaration of love that the Eight of Wands can represent. It's going to be, you know, it'll be interesting to see what September is, because I think that Eight of Wands indicates that September might be, you know, maybe a very thrilling month for my Aquariuses, right? But we also, again, back to this original first card of I am worthy, we really need to know and and understand. And like, again, this is a number 7, right? This card 16, which boils down to a 7. A 7 to me is always making that conscious choice, really owning that worthiness. Like, I deserve to have the things that I want in my life. I deserve to have the love, the benefit, the opportunity. And you know what? When we tell ourselves that, when we consciously choose that and we use that as our power, right? We are not only are we, we're channeling that through our emotional body, so to speak, with that Queen of Cups in the center. We open the door for the 10 of Cups and for the Wheel of Fortune to open up to us. We open the door for the 8 of Wands to start us off on a new journey towards that with which we love or feel inspired by or passion for, into September and beyond. Okay. So that is my Aquarian reading for you guys. I hope that makes sense. I hope that you guys should be excited for this month. It should be a beautiful, beautiful month. You are worthy, my Aquariuses. So get out there, enjoy the month, feel your way through the month, love the things that you love, allow those feelings to sort of just set your kind of vibrational point. And then from there, we attract those positive, cards that we see in the Wheel of Fortune and the 10 of Cups, and just bathe in that all month long, Aquarius. Y'all are the water bearers. Bathe in it. All right. I love you guys. Have a wonderful August. You can always join me every day on the channel for the daily forecast. Please like this video if you enjoyed it. Share it with your other Aquarian friends. Check out your sun, moon, and rising. Hit the thumbs up button. Leave a question or comment if you feel so inclined. I will be back in a moment to finish out the air signs with the last air sign, which is Gemini. I don't know if I'll get to the water signs today. I will try if I can. If not, I will do them tomorrow. Fire and earth are already up. Check out your sun, moon, and rising, because that could indicate like a good cross section of where things may be at for you in the month of August. And I look forward to seeing you guys next month. All right, take care and have a wonderful August, Aquarius. It looks like it should be beautiful. All right, bye-bye.